What defines a good coach? Knowledge is only a small part of it. My view on this in the video. Yuri Rodionov started his preseason this week. As he will be traveling to Australia around Christmas, the time is relatively short. I hope he stays healthy over the next few weeks so that we can make the most of this short time. In any case, the priorities in tennis are clearly defined. Serve and first contact, return, transitions, and a few other details will be worked on. After a long break, Jonas Trinka was also back with us in Vienna. If he can keep his physical problems under control, there's a lot possible for him next year. Our common concept for his game is already taking shape and he's also consistently implementing my associated guidelines. If he can now spend some time working on his physical development and further consolidate his tasks on the tennis court, I'm looking forward to the next season. Slava Belinsky also completed another week of practice. This week, the hours on the court were increased significantly. Now, to my opinion of what makes a good coach. Knowledge, experience, education, persistence, planning, organization, strategy, and so on are certainly attributes that characterize a coach. For me, the most important aspect is to find out what personality the player has, his character, his weaknesses in personality, but even more importantly, his character strengths. Is he extroverted or introverted? Is he risk-taking or defensive? Does he rely on athleticism or strategy? Is he lazy or hardworking? Can he evaluate situations correctly or is he only focused on himself? Is he willing to break new ground or does he like to stay on old paths? I ask myself a lot of questions at the beginning of a new collaboration and only a certain amount of time together can answer these questions. During this time, I give the player certain tasks and then observe how he reacts to them. That's why players often find me very calm in the first few days. I can't say that I'm very talkative in general, I just prefer to speak when I have something to say. During this time of observing and getting to know each other, a picture forms for me. A picture of how the player can best exploit his potential on the court with his strokes and physical abilities. And also which way of performing best suits his character and personality. When I feel I've seen enough, I talk to the player about what I see in him and what I think his game should be and how his presence on the court should be recognized. If the player can identify himself with these views, we move on to the next phase. If he doesn't identify with them, there's little point in continuing to work together anyway. The next phase is about bringing my ideas closer to the player. And here it is important that the player also understands me. My previous observations should help me there. First of all, I need to know how to bring it closer to him and then how much of it. Every development consists of trial and error. Nobody has the wisdom for themselves, so it's also important for me that the player has enough trust in me to get involved in this process. If all these components are fulfilled, only the time factor is important. And the time factor is very limited in our sport, at least for established professionals on the tour. But it is precisely all these factors that make this profession so interesting for me. And, as in my case, having other coaches as partners who support this approach and where all opinions are openly shared. There are many good coaches and there are many paths that lead to the goal. The player himself always remains the decisive factor in the end. As a coach, you can try to shape him and give him tools. And then the hope remains that these tools will be used correctly when it counts. Denis Dragomirov is a former player of us. He has decided to end his career in professional tennis and will also work as a coach in the future. I think he has all the skills to do this job successfully. I am also pleased that he is interested in supporting us in the future if needed. Thank you for your interest and see you in the next video.